Welcome to Influencer, our series of conversations with the world's thought leaders, the people creating the trends that we're all talking about. Our Influencer segment is presented by AT&T. Check out the new HTC status from AT&T, the only phone with a Facebook share button. Hop on your phone, join the conversation, and rethink what's possible with AT&T. He's one of the coolest entrepreneurs I know, and his basketball team, the Dallas Mavericks, are the 2011 NBA champions.
Yeah. You like that.
In addition to sports, he's also a fan of technology, and that's why I love him. He's an active blogger and has over, 800,000 followers.
Not quite, but after the show, I'll have like...
In his network. HDNet is turning 10 next week. Please welcome Mark Cuban to What's Trending. Welcome, Mark.
Thank you.
What was this?
There you go, I'll give you one
Well,
of
I
those.
bothered you enough. I did text you a lot.
No. I mean, 600 texts a day is not bothering.
Really?
That's stalking.
You must
but
have
we
done
won't go
that
there.
when you were starting out, with your companies.
Oh yeah, I was
you
a pain in
hustle?
the... I hustled. I was
Do you
a pain
still
in the ass.
hustle?
Yeah, not quite as much. I lost a little bit of the piss and vinegar, but I still get after it. I still turn it out.
Yeah, you're everywhere. Well, congrats on 10 years at HDNet.
Thank you.
Who knew HD 10 years ago? Was that even
No, everybody told me I was
existent?
crazy. I mean, it was like when we started broadcast.com as AudioNet, we were like, who's going to want to stream? What is streaming? Who's going to want audio or video over the internet? You're crazy. That turned out pretty well. And then 10 years ago, a high-def television set like this was $50,000 if you could get one. And they're like, no one's going to spend that kind of money. And I was like, you just wait. HD is going to be everywhere. So HDNet's just grown and grown. We're not only have we grown with high def, but we're probably the largest remaining independent network out there.
That's pretty incredible.
It's pretty cool because I get to make all the programming decisions, which I like.
You do. You decide on everything. So what goes into the decisions behind programming?
We're geared towards a male audience, 18 to 54, and any guy with a pulse, basically. And so I just try to find shows that I think they would like. And they're not always shows I like, but it doesn't matter. It's working really well.
Well, and you make a lot of the revenue from HDNet off of carriage fees rather than
subscriber
advertising.
fees, right.
So is that where online content is headed in terms of how people can monetize? You see ISPs paying for exclusive content?
I mean, I think that's happening. You've seen that some already with ESPN 360. But in reality, I think online video is going to be kind of like the training wheels for real content, and people will graduate to television, and that's what you're seeing now. So there's a show like Goodnight Burbank, which is a great show. It starts off online. And,
I know, Hayden Black.
Hayden Black, right?
There you go.
And it's graduated to HDNet, so we're going to be premiering it this fall on Wednesday night. So it's kind of a move up, and it's a better experience to watch it in high def on a television. And they actually get paid more. So I think that's kind of the future. We're talking to a lot of folks that kind of try out their content online. We have a show, Svetlana, which is kind of a mix of Curb Your Enthusiasm and a Russian whorehouse that we found on Funny or Die. And it's great, yeah. It's funny, it's interesting, it's different, it stars Reese Barr. It's scripted, and so it works well. So, I troll all the online sites, troll Hulu, wherever I can find good content, and then we make them offers they can't refuse.
Well, it's amazing how you just succeed at all these different industries. In 1 year, you're totally on top of the world in sports. It seems with TV and online. So how do you decide what trends to focus on and what's next? How do you invest in? You watch this show.
I watch the show. Yeah. What else would I do?
Of course, duh.
No, I try to look to see at people's behaviors. Technology always going to be evolving, but everybody tries to do things incrementally, right? And so I try to say, well, if everybody's looking in one area, that's probably the wrong area to look. So let's look where other people aren't looking and see if there's things that people are just not paying attention to that I think are going to take off. And that's where high def came from. That's where streaming came from. Even in the Mavs, I tried to take a countercultural approach to it. So who knows what's next?
What are people not paying attention to right now?
I think the next big thing is probably personalized medicine, because if you just think about it, if you look at a bottle of aspirin, there's always that fine print that says you might be the unlucky mother that dies from watching this, right?
Thanks for that. That's where.
But you know what? If you're that one guy, that's the only way to put it, right?
Okay.
But our kids and their kids are going to look at it and say, "What do you mean you all take the same aspirin? That makes no sense at all." Because now the speed at which we sequence DNA and genome and all that kind of stuff is going to be put into an equation that then will allow us to take our personal DNA, put it into an output for aspirin, and there you get personalized medicine. And I think that's what's going to happen, not 5 years, not 10 years, but within the next 15 years we'll do it, and that'll kind of change everything.
Well, you've heard it here first. Personalized medicine from
Right.
Mark Cuban. Go invest in it right now.
Absolutely.
And now you also blog a ton about, money and U.S. policy and government.
Sure.
So as a business person, what would you tell the U.S. government to do right now?
Get your together. Oh, sorry, I did it again, right? No, get your act together, right? Because, there's so much dogma coming from the Republicans. Don't spend, don't do this, don't do that. And then from the Democrats, spend more, spend more. But that's doctrine. That's not action items. And the reality is there's enough money going into the system, but once it gets into the system, it's not effectively coming out. If you're running a business and you're generating revenue, but you're not putting in enough, you can't get all of it into product because you have too much administration, you have too much bureaucracy, you have too many employees or not enough employees, and things are just not efficient, that business is going to fail. And that's what's happening right now. We've got enough money going in, but we're not effectively using it. We've got to get it so that we're an effective distributor of resources. So if $100 goes in, $98 goes to the affected parties as opposed to $35 or $50 or whatever it is. And if we can change that, we'll be okay. If we can't, it's going to get worse.
You're going to move to Canada?
No, I'll blame Canada for everything, but
I'm Canadian, by the way. All right. So we got a ton of Twitter questions. I must say that we got so many people wanting to ask you questions, more than some of our other guests. So one is from @ModelMotion, who asks, he wants to know, ask @MCuban about his initial assessment of the YouTube purchase by Google and his reflections about it since then.
I said it was a huge mistake back then, and I still think it's a huge mistake.
Really?
Yeah, because on one hand you say, wow, YouTube has got all these people that come to their site, but think about what's really going on at YouTube. And I like Google, they're a good company, they've done a lot of great things. All YouTube is Google subsidizing the bandwidth of every individual in the world.
And some of them are making huge careers and making a ton of money.
And that's fine, right? Because that's what subsidies mean, right? If you're going to be subsidizing from a revenue sharing point as well, but they haven't really accomplished anything. There's what, 9 zillion minutes, 9 zillion hours uploaded every minute, and the reality is people just use it to put up their baby videos, to show grandma. So I don't think that YouTube has really accomplished anything. And if you look at online video, there's only one company making money, and that's Netflix. Hulu's trying, and Netflix, 50% or more of primetime video distribution over ISPs is Netflix.
Well, and then Amazon now, and I know on YouTube there's Machinima. There are studios that are making money off advertising.
Yeah, okay, so you name Fred, right? You can name 100 people who are doing well, and then there's 9 zillion who suck.
Yeah. So you want to make less people suck. So we have another question @Devious Media. What percentage of the Shark Tank companies become profitable and how fast?
It's interesting. I did 3 guest episodes and invested, I don't know, maybe 6 companies, but I made a huge mistake. I waited to close the deals, to try to close the deals till after the show aired.
Okay.
But what happened was people saw the offers I made, called up all the entrepreneurs, and made better offers. So I kind of got...
you?
Yeah, because they saw my offer, right? It was right on television, so I kind of got burned. But I'm guessing that we're shooting. We shot the first half of this upcoming season, which comes on in January, a couple weeks ago. Then we go back in 2 weeks, and probably 70% from my experience and what I've seen so far turn profitable quickly, and 30% probably will turn profitable with some work.
It's pretty good.
Yes,
all right,
good
so we
on.
have some sports questions from
Sure.
Facebook. Matthew T. Meager, is there going to be an NBA season this year?
Can't go there. That's an expensive question. So I have to
Yeah,
pass
you
that.
went on stage with your team. Didn't you have to pay for that?
No, actually, I got permission, so it was
I'm
like,
joking. All right. Well, finally, @MWeb, will you please buy the Dodgers, please?
Every time I come to LA, every 2 seconds, people stop me on the street. People scream out of their cars. I don't. It's a long shot. It's a real long shot.
All right, I'll tell all those guys out there. They're going to be very sad.
You're doing well. How's about you buy it and I'll go to the games. I'll buy season tickets.
If you give me money, I'll buy it for you. How about that? I'll be like the face.
You sound like so many women I know.
All right, well, you can find out more about his hilarious thoughts on everything from sports to politics on blogmaverick.com and follow him on Twitter @MCuban. Mark, you rock as always. It's so
always
great
fun,
to see you.
Shara.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
being here.